Edith and Mr. Bear, from the Lonely Doll series by Dare Wright. Edith and Mr. Bear, story and photographs by Dare Wright. At the foot of the stairs, where they could watch the front door, sat Edith and Little Bear. They were waiting for Mr. Bear to come home from a trip. "I wish that he'd hurry up and get here," said Little Bear. "Be quiet, Little Bear. I'm reading to you," said Edith. I wonder if Mr. Bear will bring us a present," said Little Bear. "Of course he will," Edith said. "He always does." Just then the front door opened, and on the threshold stood Mr. Bear with his luggage and a large package. Little Bear nudged Edith. "Look, it's a big present," he said. But the package wasn't for them. There were presents for them, a sailboat for Little Bear and a party dress for Edith. "Oh, Mr. Bear, it's a long dress. Oh, thank you. Look, Little Bear, I have a long dress," cried Edith. "My sailboat's better than that silly dress," said Little Bear. Edith couldn't wait to put on her dress. "Do hurry with the buttons, Mr. Bear," she begged. "I want to see how I look." Little Bear couldn't wait to try out his sailboat. "Now it's my turn," said Mr. Bear, cutting the string of the mysterious big package. "Please, Mr. Bear, what's in it?" asked Edith. "Just wait and see," said Mr. Bear. "Come on back, Little Bear. Mr. Bear is going to open his parcel now," called Edith. "Look out, Little Bear," said Edith. "Your old boat is dripping all over my new dress." But she forgot all about her dress when Mr. Bear got the package open. Inside was a clock. Edith had never seen such a clock. The sides were made of glass. You could see the pendulum swing and watch the wheels go around. "This is a present for me," said Mr. Bear. "Who gave it to you?" asked Little Bear. "I gave it to myself," said Mr. Bear. "Where are you going to put it?" asked Edith. "On the mantel," said Mr. Bear. "But that's so high up," said Edith. "We won't be able to see the wheels go around." "It'll be safe there," said Mr. Bear. And that's where the clock went, right in the middle of the high mantelpiece. Edith was always stopping to stare up at it. She loved to hear the hours chime and to watch the slow swing of the pendulum. "I wish I could touch it, kitten," said Edith. So one day, when she was alone, Edith built a stairway of chairs and books and climbed up to where she could touch the clock. She turned it around and opened the back and put her hand in. When she touched the pendulum, it stopped. Edith snatched her hand out so fast that she lost her balance. She teetered on the pile of books, grabbed at the clock to save herself, and down with a crash came Edith and the clock together. Edith wasn't hurt, but nothing was left of the clock except broken glass and wheels that didn't go round. All Edith could think of was how to hide the dreadful thing that she had done. As fast as she could, she put away the books. She took a mop and swept the bits of clock under the logs in the fireplace. Then she ran and hid in her room. "Maybe Mr. Bear won't notice right away," she thought. But Mr. Bear noticed. "Edith, little bear, come here at once," he roared. "Which of you broke this clock?" "I didn't," said Little Bear. Edith opened her mouth to say, "I did it," but the words didn't come out. She shook her head. "Very well," said Mr. Bear, gathering up the broken pieces, "but whichever one of you is lying isn't going to be very happy. You're sure you didn't do it, Edith?" Edith looked away. She swallowed. "I didn't do it," she said. Mr. Bear was right. From then on, Edith wasn't a bit happy. She didn't feel like playing with Little Bear. She couldn't keep her mind on her lessons. "2 and 2 don't make 5, said Little Bear. "I know," said Edith. "I was thinking about something else." What she was thinking about was the clock. She didn't even enjoy her birthday party, although she wore her new dress and had a cake with candles. "Oh, kitten," she said, "you're the only one I can tell. I broke the clock. And if he knew it, Mr. Bear would never have given me a birthday party at all. He'd hate me. Everybody would hate me." She quarreled with Little Bear. "What do you think of my painting, Little Bear?" she asked. "It needs more orange," said Little Bear. "It does not," said Edith. She stepped back to take a look and kicked over a paint pot. "You've ruined my drawing," howled Little Bear. "You did it yourself, and you can't draw anyway," said Edith. "I don't like you. You're horrid," shouted Little Bear. "I never want to play with you again." "It was all my fault," thought Edith when Little Bear had rushed away, clutching his spoiled drawing. "I am horrid. I get horrider every day. Pretty soon no one will like me. Maybe I should run away." The more Edith thought about it, the better the idea seemed. "I'll go right now," she decided. She changed into her outdoor clothes. She stole quietly out of the house. She ran, and soon the streets around her were all unfamiliar. She fell and skinned her knee. Lunchtime came, and there was nothing for her to eat. She was tired and cold. She cried herself to sleep beside an ash can and woke wondering where she was. When Edith was missing at lunch, Mr. Bear began calling all the neighbors. No one had seen Edith. "She was mean to me this morning, and I got mad at her. I haven't seen her since. I'm sorry, Mr. Bear," said Little Bear. There," said Mr. Bear, although he was really very worried. "I'm sure she's all right." "Who are you going to call now?" asked Little Bear. "The police. They'll soon find her. She must be nearby," said Mr. Bear. But Edith wasn't nearby. She had gone on until she came to a great river lined with piers. At one pier, a ship was getting ready to sail. It was a very big ship indeed. "It's so big that it must be going far away," thought Edith. "If I could sneak on board it, it would take me far away too, and I would never have to tell Mr. Bear that I was the one who broke the clock." Then she thought that never would she see Mr. Bear and Little Bear again. She burst into tears. "I want to go home," she cried. But how could she go home? "I could if I told Mr. Bear the truth about the clock," thought Edith. So she dried her tears and set out for home. Dusk was beginning to fall before Edith found her own street again. The house door stood ajar, and she crept in. Mr. Bear was pacing anxiously up and down the living room with Little Bear at his heels, when a bedraggled little figure appeared in the doorway. "I've come home," said Edith, "and Mr. Bear, there's something I have to tell you." Now, no talking until we get you warm and clean you up. You're a mess, Edith. Wherever have you been?" "We've been frantic," said Mr. Bear. He popped her right into the bathtub. "Lots of soap, Edith, and scrub hard," said Mr. Bear. "But I have to talk to you," said Edith. "All in good time," said Mr. Bear, drying her. "But, Mr. Bear, I have to tell you now." "Hot milk next," said Mr. Bear. "I can't drink it. Not until I tell you," said Edith. "Oh, Mr. Bear, I did it. I broke your clock, and now you won't love me any more." "Well, now, I always thought it was you. I've been waiting for you to tell me." "Why did you lie about it, Edith?" said Mr. Bear. "I loved the clock so much, I never meant to hurt it. I only wanted to touch it, and I broke it all to pieces. I just couldn't tell you." "It was naughty of you to touch the clock without asking me, Edith. But I know you didn't break it on purpose. I wouldn't have punished you for an accident if only you had told me the truth," said Mr. Bear. "I wish I had," said Edith. "And you were very unfair to Little Bear. What if I had blamed him for it?" asked Mr. Bear. "I know," said Edith. "How are you going to punish me?" "I'm not. I think you've already punished yourself," said Mr. Bear. "I'd feel better if you punished me," said Edith. "I know you would," said Mr. Bear, "but I believe you've learned your lesson. I don't think you'll lie again. Now into bed with you." "Oh, Mr. Bear, I do feel so much better," said Edith as Mr. Bear tucked her in. "You don't hate me, really and truly?" "Don't be foolish, Edith. Of course I don't hate you," answered Mr. Bear. "Go to sleep." Edith went to sleep happy, and she woke up happy. "Oh, Mr. Bear, everything is so nice today. I love everybody," Edith cried. "All right, but be careful of my glasses," said Mr. Bear. "I love you most of all, dear Mr. Bear," said Edith. "Thank you," said Mr. Bear, "but don't choke me, Edith." "Don't ever tell a lie, Little Bear," said Edith. "I didn't," said Little Bear. "I'll never do anything bad again," said Edith. Said Mr. Bear. "I'll be good forever and ever," insisted Edith. Of course, she wasn't. She and Little Bear got into all kinds of mischief. There was the time that Edith suggested digging up the daffodil bulbs, which Mr. Bear had just planted. She wanted to see if they had begun to grow yet. They hadn't, and Edith and Little Bear quickly planted them all again, upside down. "I can't understand why those daffodils never came up," said Mr. Bear in the spring. There was the time that Edith decided to cook a surprise for Mr. Bear. "You're making an awful mess," said Little Bear. "All good cooks make messes," Edith said. "Hand me the salt, Little Bear." "All right, but you know what Mr. Bear has told us about not using the stove. I just hope Mr. Bear doesn't catch us," said Little Bear. But Mr. Bear did catch them. There were all the times that Edith boasted about her adventures the day she had run away. "Little Bear, did I ever tell you about sleeping beside the ash can all by myself?" asked Edith as they were walking through the park one day. "Only about 100 times," said Little Bear. "Let's sail my boat." "That's only a toy boat. You've never seen a real boat like the huge one that I was on the time I was going to sail far away all by myself," said Edith. "Edith," said Mr. Bear. What was that you said about being on a boat? Well, the boat I thought about getting on, corrected Edith quickly, because never again did she tell Mr. Bear a lie. The end.